There have been protests today over plans to begin clearing the proposed site for Hinkley C. EDF want to build a third nuclear reactor alongside Hinkley B in Somerset.
Opponents are worried about the safety implications of building the third nuclear reactor, but the company insists they have nothing to fear. Let's go live to our correspondent David Woodland, who is outside the council offices in West Somerset. So David, what has been decided today?
Well, the preliminary site works have got the go-ahead. There was just one vote against. They could start as early as October or November and will take up to a year. This is a major, if not unexpected, blow for the anti-nuclear campaigners and will mean big changes for people living close to the site too. A lot of vehicles, 500 cars and 290 lorries a day, and a lot of noise. And a sense too that a nuclear giant is on its way. Protesters say allowing preliminary works to start before a decision is made on the actual power station itself is a massive mistake. 2.3 million tonnes of soil and rock will be moved, all trees and vegetation will be cut, and the ground covered in concrete. Opponents say with the landscape destroyed, it'll be far easier for the power station to get the go-ahead.
And our objection is that EDF is jumping the gun in advance of getting permission to build the nuclear power station itself. That's a completely separate process. It hasn't happened yet, and there are serious doubts over whether it will ever happen.
Hinkley A has finished its working life. The B station has only got a few years left. The two new reactors will be much more powerful, creating enough power for 5 million homes. EDF Energy say if they're to bring power in without delay, the preliminary works need to be built soon.
The country desperately needs these power stations, and so we want to do as much preparatory activity as we possibly can.
But you wouldn't build the foundations of a house unless you had planning permission for the house, would you?
Well, you can always build your foundations back in again. You can fill in the foundations if you need to, if you don't get consent for the house, and that's what we will do here if we have to.
You move 2 million cubic metres of soil and then put it all back again?
If we absolutely have to, we would do that, yes.
Some local residents say disruption from traffic, noise and light will be intolerable.
Well, it's a very, very big project, and it's going to have a huge impact on so many bits of our lives. The traffic, the roads, the number of houses, number of people.
Personally, it's a nuisance. There'll be a lot of noise, a lot of dust, and we play acoustic music and dance in my garden, which I doubt we'll be able to hear.
The Japanese earthquake and tsunami may delay Hinkley C. A report will be given to the government this autumn with recommendations on what needs to be done. The preparatory work at Hinkley C would create 500 jobs. Building the station itself would employ, at its peak, 5,600 people. A lot has been at stake today.
So David, where does the planning process go from here?
Well, Kevin, EDF Energy hasn't made its application to build a nuclear power station yet. It's expecting to do that towards the end of this year. It'll be decided by the Infrastructure Planning Commission, with a final say coming from the Secretary of State for Energy, that's currently Chris Hoon. If approved, work could start by the end of the year. EDF say it'll be the biggest building site in Europe.
David Woodland, thanks very much indeed. Well, here's what some of you are saying about this story. Stephen Lunt says we're going to need nuclear power more and more over the next few decades. The world is running out of oil. I, for one, wouldn't complain about living near one.
Tony Lee Watley from Red Ruth says, I wish people would become more educated about it rather than say it won't look pretty. Surely the benefits outweigh its aesthetics.
And Graham Beale makes the point we need to look at ways of reducing consumption as well as just looking at an ever-increasing output. Thank you for all your comments.